Andrew Berry spoke to the media earlier this week, and he talked about some things about the quarterback, DePodesta, and actually he didn't talk about much. You know how the Browns is. G14 classified. They don't give much away over there. Let's see what Andrew Berry had to say. This is a reaction from myself and Dustin Fox, and some of the lack of transparency for this organization, especially when it comes to what are they going to do and some of the things that they're going to do to utilize to get this team better. You know, you didn't answer nothing. You asked about the quarterback, don't answer. They asked about what DePodesta does not answer anything. And they are very good at not seeming like they're panicking. Yeah, I'll give them credit for that. But it comes off as gaslighting you because you're like, listen, bro, we're not dumb. Y'all are in dire straits. The part that hits the most hard is the other teams around the league didn't even like your players good enough to give you solid offers on a fire sale. They was like, call us when you want to get rid of Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't like your roster.
Do you think that like the Browns players, the Browns front office, like read their news clippings about how good the roster is? Because I don't know. We were all told that this was some magical roster that was going to be one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
Well, if it's that good and that deep, why are we nobody wanted our guys?
Yeah, that's part of it too.
And by the way, people want Myles Garrett. Come on.
Oh, sure, Myles Garrett. Yeah.
No, but he said that they didn't field calls. Like, okay. Of course you field calls.
Of course.
Somebody called you and gave you 4 first-round picks, you're getting see
I'm sure there were people interested in David Njoku, too. He probably just didn't want to trade him.
Yeah.
The guys they were willing to trade,
right.
You know, I'm sure they tried to trade Quentin Jefferson. They had to cut him. He got signed by the Bills today.
Think about that.
Yeah.
One of your big signings that you talked about wow, that's going to be a bolstering to what we're doing. You had to cut him.
Yeah.
He wasn't even that much of an impact that you had to just let him roll out. Like
Mike Hall took his reps.
I mean, that's great. I just think that when he's up here talking, I've been looking at in the forecast of it. I don't know what their plan is. Again, we'll talk about this coming up a little bit later with Za'Darius Smith. It's like sometimes I'm asking myself, you know, why is this becoming a pattern? We've seen this with this organization. We've seen where earlier this year you got rid of Amari Cooper, traded him. We saw with Odell Beckham Jr., you cut him. Quentin Jefferson, you got rid of him. And these are guys that you just got, guys that were with your organization 1 or 2 years. It ended sourly with Jadeveon Clowney. They brought him back. They moved him in the middle of the season. You moved Za'Darius Smith. We'll talk about that move a little bit later too. But, you know, for me, I asked myself, what's the plan, man? What's the plan? Andrew Berry talked and spoke about how, you know, they feel confident in what they got, and they don't think this is going to be a too big of a turnaround. And, you know, all we need to do is make some minor moves here or there. And there's a team that goes from worst to first every year. And listen, when we turning these TVs on and I watch games like I watched last night, when I watch the Bengals and I watch the Ravens, and I see Joe Burrow and I see Lamar Jackson duking it out, throwing the ball everywhere. That's what it's supposed to look like. That's franchise quarterback level. When I see Jamar Chase running around and almost getting 300 yards by himself, 300 yards in the air by himself, running away from people, that's what playmakers look like. You don't have playmakers if you got to squint, if you got to take your shades off and say, if I look really close to the left and squint real hard, maybe I might have a number 2 or 3 receiver. That's not it. You know, the Browns and Andrew Berry, and I was on the radio this morning with Spencer German doing the morning drive show on 92.3 The Fan. And we talked about who was the fall guy and who if you needed to take somebody, who would it be? Would you keep Andrew Berry or keep Kevin Stefanski? And I said, you know what? Right now, I think Stefanski has an inside track because he's won some awards. And I think, you know, at least he has some merit that he's shown on the field. When it comes to the front office, they ain't won no front office awards. And they've been swinging and missing on a lot of these guys. So I said, but it changes every other week, though. I'm not going to lie. It changes from week to week because every single week you're reminded of some of the individuals that they took swings and misses on. And you always say to yourself, these guys are going to have to mess around and draft the next franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And do you trust them? And I have to say no at this point. I would love to say I do. Right now, I just don't. I just don't.